Welcome one, welcome all, welcome back to the SOTA Pop Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Hankins. Today, we're celebrating Season 3, Episode 17. Now, we have a very, very special episode for you today. We have a Takeover episode. So I'm here to just introduce the episode, get the foundation laid out. But it's going to be all thanks to these beautiful ladies, all of these amazing people. They're going to give you some awesome information about some exciting things that are coming up. I'm going to mute my video and my audio, so I'm not going to be talking a lot or at all pretty much. But I would like to introduce, Miss Jean Berry of the UNA Student Counseling Services and Miss Nicole Powell of the UNA's Women's Center. I would ask that all of you guys please introduce yourselves and then go right into the episode, if you please.
Sure. So Tyler, thank you for providing us the opportunity to highlight National Eating Disorders Awareness Week on today's SOTA Pop podcast. So I'm Nicole, the coordinator of the Women's Center. And before Jen, Katie, Aftan, and JoJo introduce themselves, I want to take a minute to provide a bit of context for today's SOTA Pop podcast. So the National Eating Disorders Association, referred to as NEDA, has designated the week of February 22nd as National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. So the goal of NEDA's National Eating Disorders Awareness Week is to raise awareness about eating disorders by educating the public and providing resources to those in need. We're hopeful that this podcast will serve to help to raise awareness at UNA about eating disorders, the most common being anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating. So during National Eating Disorders Awareness Week, February 22nd to 26th, UNA hosts Feel Good Naked Week. And it's a collaborative effort between UNA Student Counseling Services and the Center for Women's Studies. Feel Good Naked Week affords students and the larger UNA community the opportunity to participate in events that promote body positivity, challenge socially constructed ideal appearances, and encourage the embracing of all body types. Educational resources about eating disorders are provided, as are resources to those who are struggling with an eating disorder. Feel Good Naked Week events will occur in the GUC between 11 and 1 p.m. on February 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And we hope that all UNA students will stop by. This year's Feel Good Naked Week theme is All Bodies Count. Jen, will you introduce yourself and then speak a little bit about this year's theme?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Jen Berry. I am one of the counselors in Student Counseling Services, and we are super excited about promoting All Bodies Count through Feel Good Naked Week at the university. What's really cool about this, we've been working along with National Eating Disorder Awareness since 2009. And then around 2015, we started partnering with the Center for Women's Studies, and we're like, how do we just include like the idea that this body positivity and that all bodies really do count? And it really came from a place of knowing like logistically and stats that in a college population, 10% to 15% of all college students could have a diagnosable eating disorder. And that's really significant when you start to think maybe 800 to 1,000 students on this campus could meet that criteria. But even more, 40 to like 60 to 75% of college students say they're dissatisfied with the way they look. They're dissatisfied with how they feel about their bodies. And they just see that something's wrong with them, that their self-concept is just negative about their bodies. And so that kind of led into how do we teach the story and mold the story that all bodies count? All bodies, all sizes, all colors, all shapes, every size, every body counts. And so that's where it came in. So I had the opportunity to start reaching out to some amazing alum who are here with us today. And I'm going to let them share a little bit about themselves and why this is important to them and why they agreed to participate with Nicole and I today. So JoJo, if you'll start, and then Afton, and then Katie follow after that. And then we'll kind of get into the meat of what we want to talk about today.
Hello, it's one of those where I was like, I hope I'm not first.
It's all right.
I'm Javon Baker. Everyone calls me JoJo. I am a UNA alumni, class of 2016. I majored in mass communication, radio and television, interactive media. And since college, I moved to Birmingham and then back to Huntsville, where I'm from. I have my own radio show, at Alabama A&M University, where I am a gospel host on every Sunday. Since the pandemic, I haven't been able to do that, so I'm very saddened. But before the pandemic, I did that every Sunday, and I loved it because, I majored in radio. So it was an honor to be able to do that, and with my faith with gospel. Now I am a receptionist / administrative assistant for Pediatrics of Providence, which is fun because I'm the only one at my job who has no kids working with children. So it's fun every day. It just makes me realize how much I do want to be a mom. I'm passionate about this, and I'm honored to be a part of this panel because there's a stereotype that for African American people, you don't have an eating disorder. But I was privileged enough to participate at Miss UNA 3 years in a row while I was in college, and I won Miss Congeniality 3 years in a row. And I wasn't plus size then, but I also wasn't very small. And then even during college and after college, I binged eat a lot. And people don't know that that's an eating disorder. Is when you're stressed, when you're sad, when you're happy, you eat, you overeat, or you don't eat at all, and then you eat one meal, and that's not healthy. So I'm passionate about this because all bodies count, whether you're small, whether you're big, whether you're in between, finding the right clothes to wear, being confident in whatever size. And I didn't get that until after college. Well, a little bit during college and after college, I was confident in my own body. So I just want us to share that message that you can be beautiful in all shapes and sizes. So I'm JoJo. Oh, and I have a YouTube channel called JoJo Talk. And you can go to YouTube or Google and Google Javon Baker or JoJo Talk and see some of the videos I did in college and some of the videos I've done since with the election and with voting registration and just different things, interviewing people in the community. That's my passion. And I'm just really excited to be here. So y'all go ahead.
Am I next or who's next? Am I next? Oh, okay.
And you're next.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So nice to meet you, JoJo. Nice to meet everybody. Thank you for having me here. My name is Afton. I am also a UNA alumni. I am class of 2011, and I have a degree also in mass communications, and it's radio, television, and interactive media. So as of now, after speaking with Jen, I will say that in college, I wasn't really obsessed with like body image and body, like my weight and certain things. I will say it was brought to my attention, but I was blessed enough to be raised in a home where like my mom was a nurse. So like she always made sure like we would eat healthy, even though like there were many times we didn't. I mean, it's just living in America. Like still going to Chick-fil-A, but like I was just raised under the fact that everybody doesn't have the perfect body. There's no such thing as a perfect body. My mom raised me on the fact you only get one body, so make sure it works. That's what makes your body perfect. Make sure it works. So I will say there were times in my life just as like a woman growing, like, oh, I feel fat today, or I may not look like someone else, but it wasn't really detrimental to me, or more, I didn't become sensitive about it until I got pregnant. I currently now live in Nashville. I am a client services manager, so I work for a company that handles basically websites for clients and their advertisements and things of that sort. Basically like digital ads and project management. And throughout working, I did lose my job with the pandemic, but I have another one. But I was actually pregnant during the pandemic. And I remember when I had my first child, my daughter, she's 3 now, Chase, I was like, oh, I knew I was going to get big. Like I knew I was going to gain weight, but like I didn't recognize like I was really going to get big. And my first daughter was 9 pounds. I weighed 203 pounds. And that's when I started getting the number thoughts. That's where I was like, oh, the doctor says eat for 2. And it's like, oh, but I'm bigger now. Like I'm 200 pounds, and 200 pounds as a having a first child is really not that much, but it is a lot when I used to be like 150 pounds. Like, it's that always number thought in your head. Or like when you go clothes shopping, and at the time, my husband and I, we had only been married for maybe 4 months. And it's like, he knows that if he was to go pick me up something, he knows to get us medium, or he knows I used to wear like a size 8, or, he knew those things. And now he's like, I don't know what to get, I don't want to do this. And it's just, I always became conscious of what that number was. And then when it became, and it wasn't just with pregnancy, it was even postpartum after pregnancy. Oh, I still have to eat because I'm nursing. And it's like, I don't want to eat to gain weight, but I had to trick my mind to eat so that I could nurse. And it was just like, oh, when is my body going to go back? And I really had to understand the fact that, women's body is made to change, just like us people were created and were made to change. And so then when I had my second daughter, apologies. And when I had my second daughter, I thought again, especially during the pandemic, I was like, oh, okay, since we can't go to the doctor as much, I'll be okay. We gained a little, quarantine weight. We were okay with it. But then those feelings came back as my weight started gaining, and I creeped into the 180s, and I creeped into the 190s, and then I creeped right back into 200. And this time I had a 10-pound baby. So I weighed 208 pounds. And it's like, that number kept, coming towards me, the eating, am I really hungry, or is the baby making me hungry? And it's just those thoughts. And when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're like, you love your baby and you love your body. But, now that I'm, postpartum after having another baby, I'm like, oh, things are changing again. They don't feel the same like the first time. So it's just, I feel that it's our goal as women, and even as African-American women, to teach our daughters and to teach other younger women in college, or if you're not in college, if you're just 25, I'm 31 now, let me have a coffee with a 25-year-old and say, enjoy your body now, because when you get older, after you have a baby, you might not be able to hold it when you really have to use the bathroom, or just like, little things like that. And it's just like, we really have to enjoy our bodies when they are doing whatever they're supposed to be doing at that season, because there's going to be a new season, and you have to embrace and you have to enjoy it, and you have to embrace change. Just like you have to embrace change in anything else, you need to embrace change for your body as well. So that's my I guess my mindset about body changing. I think it just needs to be talked about in everyday conversation, so that it can open up the comfort level of it without being judged or like feared. Oh, I had those thoughts. And it's like, if someone told me I had those same thoughts, I wouldn't think I'm crazy for having those thoughts. So if there's anybody that, has or is pregnant, or, worried about their body, worried about, oh, I'm eating too much, I don't want to eat, because I'm breastfeeding, or, I don't want to eat because I don't want to gain this weight and have to immediately run out and track my calories on my iWatch. And it's just like, get away from all that and just enjoy the body that God created for you.
Sounds like a good leeway into your story.
Oh, there's a lot of power in this room. This is awesome. Oh my gosh. Y'all are amazing. Amazing. Oh, thank you guys for sharing. I love hearing y'all's stories, and I resonate so much with what has already been said. My name is Katie Terry. I am an alumni class of 2009, and oddly enough, also a communications major. So that's a common theme we got going on. I was PR, and for me, my story with eating disorder started when I was a young girl. I was involved in dance, and I clearly remember the first instance around 8 years old being told that I was larger than other people in the room. And I never really noticed until somebody pointed it out. And it was, that person, it was an innocent comment, but it festered and it grew over time. Eventually to the point where when I did come to UNA, I was still dancing. I was a lionette. And I don't know if it was just like the independence factor of, being out on your own underneath your parents' roof for a while. Things were still happening in my high school years, but it really amplified once I came to UNA. And honestly, to the point I was so out of control, I didn't even know it. And I was actually sitting in a health science class in my freshman year, and they were talking about eating disorders and our class discussion, and they're reading about anorexia, bulimia, bulimorexia, exercise addiction. And I never in my life had heard about those things. I had heard like anorexia, but if you look at the stigma of culture, I didn't really fit that mold. I wasn't like super thin. I wasn't, starving myself all the time. I was just I kind of joke around now. It's probably not a great joke, but I wasn't really good at any of them. I was addicted to all of it. So I just kind of did it all. But again, just like if you looked at me, I always presented like a healthy person. And so I think, once I finally got to the point where I realized I had a problem, I let it sit for a while. I was like, JoJo, I participated in the Miss UNA pageant. And it was after that point where I just hit my rock bottom. And I was very fortunate to have people in my life at that point who were trying to minister to me and share with me the truth of the gospel. And I never heard those things before. So I felt compelled to share with them what I was going through. And thankfully that person said, like, I love you and I care about you, but I can't help you with this. Here are these resources. And they pointed me to Jen and the health services. And it was just a godsend, a blessing to be able to have those resources at UNA. So I got involved in counseling and the group that Jen had going at that time. So it really helped me during a really dark and difficult season. And it's just even preparing for this, if I would have, like at that point, if you would have told me, 15 years from now, you're gonna be able to talk about this and see the other side of it, I would have just laughed, like, no way, because it just felt so big and so controlling. We said life without Ed, like Ed was like, Ed and me were like this, and I just couldn't picture life without him. And so, during the recovery process, it was really intense and a lot of hard work, but I was so thankful. I had to walk away from some relationships and from dance even for a season, just to kind of get back into a healthy place. I also, just really dived into my relationship with the Lord at this point. And that was also just like, life-changing for me, just to see who I was and real my identity really was. It wasn't in what culture was preaching to me. So now I guess, kind of similar to you, Afton, when I had my first pregnancy, I was a little bit concerned, like not really sure how it would fester. I was very open with my midwife, my care provider, and just sharing, I have a history of this. I'm not really sure how it goes. But for me, it was definitely a season of just seeing the beauty in my body, and kind of like what you were saying, Afton, as far as like just seeing how it functions and how it, what it can do. So long story short, that's my career now. I'm a birth worker, I'm a labor doula and a childbirth educator. So I help parents during the pregnancy time, just with information and resources, and kind of like I listened to culture my whole life that tell me that I was supposed to look and do a certain thing. I help people in the birth world know that you don't have to look and birth a certain way. It's just whatever you want, whatever your priorities are. I support you and I support that. So it's really interesting to see it come full circle. So yeah, I still live in Florence. I'm actually right down the road from UNA and can hear the bells when they go off at 4:30. But I'm married and we have 3 boys now. So very thankful that there's more resources on campus. Like that's super exciting. It started right as I left. So that's wonderful. I'm really excited to be a part of this conversation today.
I think that's so cool. You're a doula.
Thank you.
I literally
It's
have
great
like
how
an
these stories
8-week-old
sort of
baby.
connect. And I knew they would. So which
Yeah.
also led me, thank you, right into the next thing that I wanted just to kind of throw out, something that you all have been, depending on when you left UNA, the things that we see now is a generation of 24/7 societal connection because of social media. And so it affects us not only how we perceive ourselves and how we think other people perceive us, because now we're in a world of likes and hearts and how many people saw my post and liked my picture, and so we have that societal thing. So I want you guys to talk about that a little bit, and then from a cultural standpoint, how has it influenced you culturally? How has the influence of where you are in your life right now, culturally and from a society standpoint, really affected how you see yourself, and how have you overcome some of the stigmatism that we have seen happen because of internal bias or external bias through social media? So Jojo, if you want to start, and we can just go kind of back around, we'll go from that perspective.
Okay. Well, I'm probably the biggest communication person who does not do social media. I'm very bad at it. I do want to say, I think it's really cool. She's 9, she's 11, and I'm 16. We all have such a 4-year thing from when we graduated. So our point of views are going to be so great and so different. Anyway, I'm the youngest, I'm 26, no kids, but I don't do social media well because of the whole liking and the posting and I do it for my job, I do it for my business, but I can't get with the whole Instagram, which is just pretty much for pictures. I know it's changed a lot now. I was never good at Twitter, except my mentor told me I had to get a Twitter, so I got one. I do Facebook for my church, but it gives me anxiety, if I'm being honest, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I'm not having a baby, and I don't have the house to post, and I don't have the bathing suit body to post. I'm not before COVID, but like the traveling picture post, on the beach. This whole thing with TikTok right now is the silhouette challenge and being positive on your body. I really like that, just not good at it. So I would like to think that if there was a time to be more body positive, it's right now, because that's all we're doing is social media because of a pandemic. That's what we have our phones for. We are constantly on that. So I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm all for it. I'm just saying we need to be pushing all bodies count, instead of I open my phone and the first thing that pops in my head is, what is she doing? You're supposed to do squats today, or you're not supposed to eat that today, or counting your calories. Like Afton said, you're always taking a picture of what you're eating. And I really hate that stereotype that I have to be something that I'm not. So I think that social media is a great and powerful tool. We just need to use it the right way.
Yeah, I think that's right. To piggyback on that, I think social media can be good and, of course, evil at the same time. I think that I think if we teach that social media is built, I think it needs to be taught that the algorithm is built to pull certain aspects of your weaknesses out of your brain that's the algorithm, is to get you excited, to make you feel nervous. Like is built to create a reaction. Now, if that reaction's positive or negative, that's the eyes of the beholder. But if you know that it's built to create a reaction, then you can kind of think ahead of your own reaction. I think that and I just had to do this with myself, just within my late 20s, bleeding into now, that you have to be comfortable with who you are first, and that comes from all angles. That could come from parents, that can come from a mentor, or unfortunately, the story we just heard, that could come from when someone points it out that you're the biggest one, and then it's like, oh, but if I feel like, or what I'm going to plan on doing with my daughters, is that I want them to know who they are, as far as what their body and where it came from, as far as Christ, and how my husband and I, how we think of our children's bodies, and set that level and set that bar, so that when they go out to the real world, or when they have their phone in their hands and they're looking at certain things, when parents are not around, they'll go back to what was I taught, versus what I see and what I feel. What was I taught? So that when those feelings come, because it is true, Jojo, like you might feel like, oh, I don't have anything to post because I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, and it's like if everybody just would not focus on what everybody else is doing, you could just be happy posting that you're just going to get coffee. Someone will be like, dang, I wish I could just go get coffee without like having to do so much. I just think we just as a society need to know that the internet and social media is not the standard. It doesn't set a benchmark. It doesn't define who you are. I mean, I could have posted many of pictures when I was, pregnant the second time and be like, oh, bundle of joy, blah, blah, blah. And then what is it going to do? It's going to make another mom who's pregnant happy. It's going to make a mom who just had a baby happy, but it's also going to make someone who lost a kid sad. It's going to make a newlywed, oh, I wish I had a boy or a girl, oh, I can't wait till I do that. It's going to make other people have many, many reactions. And it's just like I can't be in control of those reactions, but I can be in control of what I feel and, what I know about my body. And I know for me, my body is going through this change. For someone else who's watching that timeline, it just might not be their season. They don't need to envy it. They don't have to feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing that. I'm not doing that right now. It's just not your season. Your season will come when, the heaven of, the timeline of the Lord tells that's, beyond anybody's control. So I just think that our society needs to recognize that social media is not a season competition. That it isn't. It's just showcasing what everybody is doing in their season at that particular time. And now everybody can just look at it. That's what it is. Like now I'm in a season where I'm not pregnant, but I can look at other people and be like, oh, yay, congratulations, because that's their season. I'm just in a season where I'm resting. Well, I'm not. I have an 8-week old.
So,
but
Katie, before you kind of address the cultural societal thing, Jojo, you were talking when we were on the phone about some of the difficulties you had when you were in the pageant. Again, you said it was primarily Caucasian girls who were in the pageant at the time. Talk about that part of that cultural piece for you as well.
It was uncomfortable. It's like when you're a kid, Kate talked about when she was a kid, and you're in the locker room and you get undressed for the first time and someone has breasts and you don't. Like Afton said, you can only control what you can control, but I've always been busty since I was like 13 years old. So going into the pageants, I had to it took 3 people to get me into my dress. And that wasn't because the dress was small. It was just my body type is different. I was smaller at the bottom, but bigger at the top. And everywhere I looked, they had the curls. They had the swimsuit with y'all know the bikini style. Katie, you remember it comes up real high. I can't do that because if I come up high, I got some rolls on the side. It's gonna get stuck. It ain't gonna work. So it was an uncomfortable situation that I was in, but it also, growth only happens when you're uncomfortable. So I put myself in those situations, not out of punishment or to stress myself, but to challenge myself to be in an uncomfortable situation with my body, to learn that my body is beautiful. And those girls, they did not make me feel bad about it. I praised the Miss UNA program because I felt confident going out on the stage in those heels with all those lights. They always told us to say, if someone judges you on that, make them get up on stage and do it themselves. And that's how I felt. Thank you for asking the question, but it was challenging, but it was hard work pays off. And now I think I'm a better person because my bathroom here at my apartment, there's mirrors everywhere in my bathroom. I could have never did that a couple of years ago. My coworker other day said, Javon, how do you deal with all those mirrors? I said, because I'm big and beautiful. And I like that about myself. I know I could be better. I know I could be healthier. But when I get undressed, I look in the mirror all 360 degrees, and I'm okay with that. And Miss UNA, it taught me that a little bit.
Katie, go ahead and address. I was thinking about, and you had this conversation before about the ideal appearance. And just a little side note, we all heard her talk about life without Ed. It's our short version of an eating disorder.
Eating
We
disorder.
narrow it down sometimes. But yeah, talk about this, how culturally and our society pushes us to have this kind of unknown ideal.
Yes, I believe there is probably a different ideal for me when I was going through it. Like even, growing up without a phone, without technology, it still was there, so the fact that we have this now for younger people is, we got to tread on it lightly. So I do feel like, there was a standard, at least with my experience, because of growing up in dance, like there was kind of like the beam pole is kind of what we needed to get fast turns and to get high in the air. So that kind of figure was prevalent for me. So that's what I try to achieve. Now, I think it's probably different in different groups and different cultures and wherever you are. And we learn that just if you look outside of just the American culture, like a beanpole type appearance would be like, why is she poor? Like if she doesn't have enough food to eat, like it's not the same. And so just learning that, like kind of getting outside of my like cultural bubble helped me see that. And I remember even watching the documentary in college, America the Beautiful, I think it was called. But, just kind of exposing, magazines were kind of, I guess, the main thing that we had. And so just when you're looking at those, just realizing how much they're photoshopped and all those ads are adjusted. And it's the same now, like as Afton was saying with social media, you're always putting out the best version of yourself. So for me, like in college, like that's when Facebook came out. So I think my social media approach is kind of different.
Just in college.
Yeah.
I'm a baby.
Because you had to have a college address.
You had to have it was like LinkedIn, it was like LinkedIn, and you had to, that's how we were taught. I mean, I remember sitting in my like PR classes and it's like, this is basically your resume on the internet. So use it wisely. And I still kind of function that way. Yes, I put pictures of my family, my kids, because most of my family doesn't live here. So that's the way we stay connected. But, I think if we got to just kind of be careful for the younger people that are getting straight into like a smartphone and all that. But yeah, to answer your question specifically, Jen, I just feel like, we are what's around us. And unless we're told those great messages like Afton's mom, we're going to just soak in what's accessible.
So, hey, Nicole, we were talking earlier, just kind of getting ready for this. I want to kind of connect it. Why all bodies count. If we don't start putting that message out now, in not just in our universities, but in our younger generation and this generation behind us, it doesn't stop. We represent a different generation than you guys, and we didn't have the social media that you guys have, but it continues to in our lives, even as older adult women and men, that there's always going to be something wrong, and there's always going to be an unknown ideal look or appearance. And so I didn't know, Nicole, if you wanted to kind of throw in a little bit about that as well.
Sure. I mean, I think that as all of you have already spoken to, there is this sort of undercurrent, unfortunately, in society and in various cultures that promotes different ideals, right? And they're artificially constructed. And if you don't have the tools and resources to be able to understand that, Katie, as you were talking about, that these magazines that you're looking at, these women are airbrushed, right? They're slimming down thighs, and they're already beautiful just the way they are. But if you don't have that awareness, right, and you aren't able to recognize those things, you're trying to achieve an ideal that, a constructed ideal that is in fact unattainable, right? And so no matter what you do, you still aren't going to be able to achieve this. And the ways in which I think young women and men are trying to achieve these, artificially, socially, culturally constructed ideals it can be very unhealthy. And so, Jen, I think that, the collaboration between the Women's Center and the Student Counseling Center really kind of grew out of this understanding that we want students, especially college age students, to appreciate the bodies that they have. And Aftan, I love, your mom saying that, you get one body, enjoy it, right? And there's no such thing as a perfect body, right? And I think being able to sort of share that with students here at UNA, and also, through Feel Good Naked Week, promote body positivity. All bodies are beautiful, and provide students with resources that educate them. Katie, you had mentioned that you didn't, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you didn't even know that there was a significant issue, that you were sort of struggling with. So providing, the athletes here on campus, right, who struggle, the dancers, and all students, right, providing them with those resources to just sort of raise awareness about the fact that this is an issue that many students struggle with, and there are resources available here at UNA to help you overcome some of these challenges and struggles, because we want students to be healthy and safe.
Yeah, so before we kind of close it all up, and I want to share a couple of ways that students can do that here at the end. Is there anything that you guys would like to kind of quickly leave a thought with the students? All students are going to be getting an opportunity to listen to this, and there may be anybody as Nicole talked about, in all of our areas, whether it's athletic or our LGBTQ plus, or in our national population and our marginalized. I mean, y'all, it affects. There's not. When it says 10% of the population, it doesn't say 10% of all white people have eating disorders or all women have eating disorders. It is across the board. And it doesn't matter if they're rich or poor or where we come from or don't come from. It affects everybody, male, female, plus all the above, genders and sexuality. So I really want to talk about that opportunity. So is there any little kind of, before we wrap it up, is there anything that you guys want to just say, hey, this is sort of the thing I want you guys to know? Katie, you can start, and then we'll go to Afton, and then down to JoJo, or that's the way I see y'all. So
yeah, what comes to my mind is that if you're hearing this and you feel like, wow, I really relate to these people, I really am struggling in this way, I didn't even know I was struggling, and I'm struggling. There's no time better than the present to talk to somebody. And the fact that these resources are available within your tuition, like you have more free time now than you will have in your entire life to do this hard work. It doesn't get easier. It doesn't get better. It doesn't become something that's going to go away. It's going to be with you. And so I really hope that you hear the love for, the people that are employees of this university who want you to know that they're there for you, and to go to them, because it'll change your life, and it will help you wherever you go after UNA.
I think that's really good. And I agree 100%. If you are a new student, of a current student, or alumni that's back on campus for, any means of life, just know that you are in a safe place. I think if you're in a safe place, then you'll be able to feel comfortable, reaching out, telling someone, so that you can use the resources, because that's right. This time of your life, this is the most time you're ever going to have. Life is going to go by so fast after it, and you're going to be able to experience it in a different way once you've tackled this. So use that moment in life, that season in life, to tackle this in a safe place with people who care, and they will care throughout your journey when you're working on yourself, or throughout your journey when you're gone and you maybe need to come back, or you maybe need some reassurance about some things. UNA will always be a safe place. That's one thing my husband and I always say, is like, we can't wait to take our kids to UNA so they can see it, because it really is a good, not only good education wise, but great in reputation and great in longevity, no matter where you go. And I've lived in Atlanta, I've lived in Nashville, I've traveled, internationally and just a lot in US. And a lot of people are like, oh, I remember that one person from Florence, or I've been around that area or something. And I think they remember that because they felt safe. They felt safe. It felt like home. So if you're a student, you're anybody that you have, these issues right now, go to someone, use these resources because you're in a safe place. Just reach out and talk.
I also agree with everything both of them have said. A safe place. That's what stood out most to me. What Afton was saying was that my memory of UNA is that I was safe. I was safe on campus. I was safe off campus as long as I was doing safe things. I was safe. And I want to thank Miss Jen and Miss Nicole for inviting us and giving this platform, and thank the SOTA Pop, because we need to share this message. I also love the title, Feel Good Naked Week. Like, it just does something to me. It makes me smile. And I was looking up the lyrics to a song because music touches the soul. And there's a song called Naked by LMA. And the first part is take away the big shirt, the tattoos, the sweatpants, and Vans. I don't wear no makeup, no purse in my hand. Love me naked. I just want someone to love me naked. And that's in all aspect of our lives. It's our body, it's our spirit, it's our mind. There's a baby. You just want someone, and I think UNA does that. Like y'all said, other campuses, we need to push that in our lives, that be yourself. You only get one body, like she says. Be confident. Confidence is sexy. When you walk in a room, whether you're the biggest, the smallest, Black, white, male, female, or in between, love yourself and be happy. Students who are watching this, you're at the prime of your life. I would go back to being a student yesterday, a student on campus, a student off campus, because that moment in our lives, there's some type of impulse or something that generates, that gives you life. And after college, life happens, and it happens hard. So I want people watching this to take advantage of the opportunities you have. And then if you're watching this and you're not a student and you're thinking about going to college, but you're like looking at the stereotypes, call somebody, FaceTime somebody, use the resources. They're not just for students. There are people in the community. You have a friend, pick up the phone and call them, because it's too much. Life is too short. COVID has taught us that. And people are leaving this world left and right, at a young age, at an old age, and in between. So pick up the phone, call somebody, and be loved naked.
All right, girls, thank you so much. Okay, so if you are a student and you're concerned about someone, or you're hearing some of these fabulous stories, and you realize that some of these things that you've heard today may be you talking very similarly to you, all you have to do is give us a call at Student Counseling Services, 256-765-5215. We're on the quick links on the main page of the UNA website. So we're really easy to find. We have a great counseling website with all kinds of information. But the main thing is just call somebody, schedule a time to have a conversation. We have licensed professional counselors. As Katie mentioned, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It's confidential. No one even has to know that you're even in the Zoom room with us, because we're Zooming right now. But no one has to know, just you and the counselor. If you're just worried about somebody and you're not sure, again, check out our resources online, but also call and ask questions. That's what we're here for. You may not have a full-blown diagnosable eating disorder. That's okay. But if you do, we can help you get to resources that can help get you where you need to be and make sure you're being taken care of. It may just be, hey, I'm just not okay with my body, or hey, I'm just so strict with everything I do, and I have all these rules, and I just can't enjoy life because I can't get out of my rules about the way I'm supposed to looking and how I'm supposed to eat and where I'm supposed to exercise and all these kinds of things. So just call us, and we'll be here to help answer those questions for you at any time. And during the week of Feel Good Naked Week, again, the 22nd through the 28th, during that week, we will be providing confidential screenings, not only here in Student Counseling Services, but also in the Center for Women's Studies. So we're going to have this at different times throughout that week, and you'll be getting more information through social media sites. So I'm going to let you close up, Nicole, with kind of reminding like how to follow us on social media and what to look forward to.
Jen, I don't even know what, and I post. I'm the poster to social media.
Well, okay. So it's really, they can just follow, like, they can just find us on Instagram and on Twitter. And, just we're going to be posting things about our activities during the week. As you mentioned, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of that week, we'll be in the Juicy 11 to 1. We're going to have some fun. We're going to beat up some scales. We're going to make fun of some scales. We're going to put up major positive affirmations, selfies with positive affirmations, and we're just going to have fun and provide resources. And so follow Student Counseling Services, follow the Center for Women's Studies, and you'll be looking for us. They're really easy to find. Look for us, and you'll be able to find out some really good information between now and our Feel Good Naked Week.
Perfect. Thanks, Jen.
Okay, no problem at all. So I don't know where Tyler is, but I think is there anybody else that has anything else you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
Ms. Jen, I just want to add for the record, I took place in Student Counseling Services all 4 years in college. So I can also attest to the binge eating and body problems, but I can say Student Counseling Service saved me many nights, many days on campus. So it's bless you. Bless you.
Yes. I mean, you have so many like good relationships and friends, and there's so much going on at UNA, but it's hard to that's kind of what the group did for me. Like we had the eating disorder group. And so it was really fun, like having all these relationships, but it was like, they still didn't understand what I was going through, so it was like being able to have the group counseling too, just like looking back how special that was to be able to just meet with people who are going through the same exact thing I was going through. And we're all at different places. So we're encouraging each other and we're, helping each other out. Like it's a great thing that you guys have going. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you guys for inviting me. Thank you for having this platform for others to hear. And nice to meet you, Katie, and you too. It's just great to just meet other UNA alumni. But thank you so much for having me. And I'm
your
going
baby's
back
cute. Look how sweet.
Okay, what a wonderful, positive, awesome note to end on. I also, before we go, I know we're wrapping up, but I want to say thank you to all of you as well, because as a current student who's going here right now, and as someone who's also facing body image issues personally, I do appreciate all the work that you've been doing, and I do look forward to all of the counseling sessions that I will be going to. And yes, the Instagram is right here. Follow them right here. And yes, but yeah, seriously, thank you guys so much for coming and sharing your stories. We all really appreciate it. Like I said, I got amazing motivation from this episode. And I know that whoever's listening, there's plenty of people who's going through the same thing. And I'm so glad that we have this platform to let people know that they're not alone. And that, yes, UNA is definitely a community and it feels like home and it's a safe place for everyone. And I'm so grateful that, we all get to have that same shared experience.
Tyler, what's the Instagram, if you can say it on here?
Yes, ma'am. It's a UNA Student Counseling Services. UNA, I don't know if it's backwards, if you can see it backwards, but that's it right there.
Thank you.
Right. Oh yeah, no problemo. But yeah, please follow them. Like you said, they're gonna have like positive affirmation. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with going to counseling. I don't want people to think that there's like a stigma or like they're like, trying to get my words, I'm sorry. But I don't want people to think that there's anything wrong with going to counseling. Going to counseling is perfectly normal. It's healthy and it's amazing. And it does amazing things for you and it does amazing things to you. But yes. Thank you guys again for coming. We really appreciate it. Also follow us on social media. Let us know if there's any episodes you'd like us to do, if you have any questions. And yes, please have a wonderful day. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel of Soda Pop and also Miss JoJo's radio show. And yeah. and yeah.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank
We
you guys.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, ladies. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Roar Lions.
Roar Lions.
Bye.
Hey guys, make sure to check out all of our social medias. Feel free to send us your feedback at arts@una.edu or through the DMs of any of our social media. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the future.
This podcast has been brought to you by UNA School of the Arts. Executive producer is Mark Gallegos, co-produced by Selena Fugate and Tyler Hankins. Special thanks to Dr. Terrence Brown and the entire SOTA staff.